Remember when parents used to ask us, who do you want to become when you grow up? And we kids used to reply, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a space traveler. And apparently Katy Perry was the only one who didn't lie. She just came back from space, but can we call her an astronaut is another question, because she was in the space only for 11 minutes. And on top of that, she wasn't in a crew, she was just a passenger. Recently, 6 celebrities went to the space on a Blue Origin rocket, which is owned by Jeff Bezos. And among those was pop star Katy Perry, Lauren Sanchez, fiancé of Jeff Bezos and author of a children's book, Gayle King, friend of Oprah and television host, and 3 other women, a filmmaker, an activist, and a former NASA rocket scientist. And during the preparation stage, Katy Perry actually threw a lot of interesting phrases and words about her being the first pop star in the space. If you didn't know, a lot of other celebrities planned on going to the space. Among those were Justin Bieber, Beyonce, and Jay-Z, and some others which I honestly don't remember, and most of them planned on making a music video in the space. However, it didn't happen for them the way it happened for Katy Perry, even though she didn't shoot a music video, if I understood it correctly. So let's come back to those phrases from Katy Perry which I spoke about, because later on in this video you'll understand why they're actually hilarious. Space is going to finally be glam, Perry told Elle magazine. So for you to understand and precisely know what she's talking about when she says glam, let me show you the picture of all 6 women who went to the space. From left to the right, Lauren Sanchez, Katy Perry, former NASA scientist Aisha Bowie, movie producer Carrie-Anne Flynn, Gayle King, and scientist Amanda Nyan. As you may notice, all of them wore custom curve-hugging flight suits for their trip to the space. And all of them looking extremely glamorous, aren't they? On top of that, Katy Perry threw in, we are going to put the S in astronaut. Now, let's talk a little bit further and understand why this phrase is actually ridiculous. This crew of 6 celebrities is actually the second female crew that went to the space. The first and only previous space voyage by an all-female crew was completed by Valentina Tereshkova, a Russian cosmonaut, in 1963. She went alone and spent 71 hours total orbiting Earth. If we put it on the weights like this, 11 minutes, 61 hours. 6 members just by herself. Passengers, the only member of the crew. So you understand the difference a little bit. Coming back to the celebrities crew, the entire trip is only expected to last 11 minutes and the woman will be going up a rocket that flies itself, allowing each of them to enjoy the flight as passengers. So basically Katy Perry planned on putting S in astronaut, but instead she put S in passengers. So the next question is where the space actually starts. And Doug Ruland, a heliophysicist, said in a NASA explainer video on a subject, if you want to know where does the atmosphere end, it's about 400 miles over your head. However, this 400 miles border is not really used as a borderline to the space. Blue Origin, along with many other organizations including the FAI, go by the Kármán line as the boundary where space starts. And this line is about 62 miles in the sky. And this is where the Blue Origin rocket was basically set to go. And in 2021, by the same FAI standards, a person who went above 50 miles in the sky could actually call themselves an astronaut. But lately, as many passengers started to go to the space, they nerfed the rule and now you actually have to do something in a space as a crew member to consider and call yourself an astronaut. But as we all know, all the 6 celebrities that went to the space, even though they went a little bit above 50 miles in the sky, they were basically staring out the window the whole time. They were passengers. And this part is the main reason why Katy Perry basically received so much backlash from the internet. After her 11 minutes trip to the space, she came out of the ship and started to kiss ground, pretending like she's an astronaut that came out of the space after, I don't know, 3 days. Here's a little footage of that. She kissed the flower. She bent on her knees and started kissing ground. Considering all the information that we know about their trip, it really looks ridiculous. Now we see a lot of people on the internet mocking their trip to the space. A lot of famous people and even companies had their say about that trip. For example, Emrata called the spectacle of the flight beyond parody. Even Wendy's commented on the post about the Katy Perry's return from the space. Can we send her back? Some people even brought up the recent morning guy with his routine. And if you remember, there was a meme about him flying to the pool where he spent 4 minutes in the air. And now people joke about him being in the space longer than Katy Perry. Basically, everybody's having a blast about this situation. Please don't call it a ride. We duplicated the same trajectory that Alan Shepard did back in the day. No one called that a ride, King huffed. It was called a flight. It was called a journey. There was nothing frivolous about what we did. She said she was disappointed and very saddened that that us shallow idiots had missed the point. She and Perry were changing the trajectory of womankind. And to me, this part specifically is also a little bit ridiculous because they putting so much on such little foundation, speaking about their 11-minute trip. Of course, back in the days, it was considered differently because the technology was different. And you cannot say right now that they discovered and did something out of this world crazy because the situation is completely different from back then. And of course, the other thing that they did this for, which is, I don't know if we even have to talk about this, is publicity. And of course, using this publicity stunt, Katy Perry used it to promote her music. Apparently, she sang some song in the ship on the way back. And of course, the whole passenger crew were begging her to sing any song on the way back. There is always a moment of solidifying yourself in a history, being first at something. And being the first pop star in the space, first pop star singing a song in the space is huge. And no matter the foundation, because later on, even though people will be repeating this stuff, there is always going to be a debate and people will always remember Katy Perry going to the space and singing a song in there. So this moment is definitely a W for them, no matter how it looks. But no matter, the news going to the internet was a blast and it was fun to read all these comments from people about their trip. That's why I wanted to talk about the subject and discuss it a little bit more. Let me know your thoughts about the situation in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, like the video if you liked it, and that's it. See ya.